Have you ever had a season in life that looked messy, confusing, or completely out of order? Maybe something changed suddenly, or a door closed. Maybe people's pride created problems that affected you. Maybe life simply felt random. The book of Esther reminds us of something powerful. What looks like chaos to us may be divine setup in the hands of God. Today we begin Esther chapter 1. And before Esther ever speaks, before Mordecai gives the famous words, for such a time as this, before Haman rises and falls, God is already moving. And he's moving through circumstances that look anything but spiritual. The book of Esther takes place after the Jewish exile. Many Jews had returned to Jerusalem, but many remained scattered throughout Persia. They were living in a foreign culture and they were thriving. And one of the most fascinating things about Esther is this: God's name is never mentioned once in the entire book. There are no miracles, no prophets, no dramatic signs, all the things that we look for today, yet his fingerprints are everywhere. And for many of us, that sounds like seasons of life that we know all too well. God may seem silent, but silence does not mean absence. When we look at Esther 1 through 4, we see that King Xerxes, his secular name, is reigning over 127 provinces. He is sitting on the royal throne in Susa, which is one of four capitals. It's the third year of his reign, and he's having a feast for his officials and servants. The king and the armies of Persia and Medes and the nobles and the governors were all there. He was showing off his royal glory, the splendor and the pomp of his greatness for 180 days. So, chapter 1 opens with wealth, luxury, and power. The king is showing off his greatness. The empire looks untouchable. He has gold and royal splendor. He's throwing lavish feasts and parties. All the important people are there. But Esther begins by showing us something important. Sometimes what appears powerful on the outside is deeply unstable underneath. The king had authority over nations, yes, but he did not have wisdom over himself. And that still happens today. People can have status, money, followers, influence, and still be empty, immature, and led by pride. We read on in Esther 1:10 through 12 that they're having this party. They're on the seventh day now. They've been drinking, and he commands the eunuchs to go bring Queen Vashti to him with her royal crown so he can show her beauty off to the people around. But Queen Vashti refuses to come, and the king becomes enraged and outraged with anger at this. The king wanted to display Vashti like she was a possession. He wanted to show off her beauty as a part of a celebration, but she refused. And suddenly, the most powerful man in the entire empire looked powerless. His pride was being challenged publicly. So instead of responding with wisdom, he responds in anger. That still happens today. When pride is wounded, people often react emotionally instead of wisely. We go on to Esther 1:13 to 20. The king talks to the wise men. These are the men, the king, the rulers, the princes of Persia and Mede, who are supposed to help guide him. According to the law, what are we supposed to do with Queen Vashti, he asked, because she didn't answer my command. The Memucan said, in the presence of the king and the officials, not only has the queen done wrong, but she's done that wrong against all of the officials and all the people in the provinces of King Xerxes. For the queen's behavior will be made known to the women, causing them to look at their husbands with contempt. King Xerxes commanded Queen Vashti be brought before him, and she didn't come. That very day, the noble women of Persia and Medes heard of the behavior. There would be contempt. If the king please, then let a royal order go out saying that Queen Vashti may never come into King Xerxes' presence again and give her royal position to someone else. So the decree was made, and so all the women would know they had to honor their husbands. But Vashti lost her crown. Notice this carefully. They're not focused on wisdom. They're focused on appearance, on image. They fear, what if one woman says no, all women will hear about it. So they create empire-wide policy to protect pride. And Esther writes this with irony. The king who ruled 127 provinces could not control his household. Many people read Esther 1 and think, why is this chapter here? Because chapter 1 creates the opening Esther will later step into. Vashti's removal creates the vacancy, and through that vacancy, Esther will rise. And through Esther's rise, God's people will be delivered. What looked like palace chaos was divine setup. Before Esther knew her purpose, God was already arranging the circumstances. Before the crisis came, God was already making room. Before the enemy rose, God already had a plan in motion. He doesn't wait till the last minute, does he? Romans 8:28 says, and we know that for those who love God, all things work together for good, for those who are called according to his purpose. There is a key, called according to his purpose. That does not mean all things feel good. It means God can work through all things. Some of you are grieving seasons that changed. A relationship ended, a door closed, a plan failed. People acted foolishly, and it affected your life. And all you can see is the disruption. But Esther reminds us, not every disruption is destruction. Sometimes what was removed was actually making room. Sometimes what felt chaotic was preparing the stage. Sometimes God is doing his best work behind the scenes. Maybe you're in an Esther chapter 1 season right now. No miracles, no clarity, just change. Take heart. God may seem silent, but he is never absent. If this encouraged you, please subscribe and walk through Esther with me, chapter by chapter, because this book proves something we all need to remember. What looked like chaos was divine setup. But for what?